Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. And I am here with my dear, dear soul family, Pia and Cullen. And we are here to talk to you today on this very special day of May 9th, 2023. And what is it that we do when we come together here to talk about evolving our consciousness and co-creating our new earth together? It's all about how to navigate in these ascension times that we're in and how we can support each other in co-creating our new earth together. That's what we're here to do. And welcome to the show today, Pia and Cullen.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, hello. And I love the colors that we're all wearing. We've got the pastels on. I've got the peach, and you've got the yellow, and then Cullen's got the light blue. So these are the colors today, and it's perfect for us. So I want to, well, let's just start off by saying, wow. Let's just start off by saying, wow, how intense, the energies are, and how incredible it is right now to be alive and to be a human on this planet, but also to be who it is that you are, the work that you've been doing. And I want to particularly steer this conversation today for this is a very special show for the starseeds, for the light workers, for the shadow workers, for the realm workers that have been working tirelessly, I want to say for many decades, but in particular this last decade, that have really been transfiguring, transcending, doing that deep, deep, deep inner work, learning to love the self and integrate the light and transmute the densest, darkest, heaviest energy on the planet. And those people, I want to talk to those people. So if you're tuning in today and this is your first time here, this may not resonate with you. This is for the particular workers that have been on the front line doing this deep, deep inner work. And I want to have a space for you today so that we can discuss what, many people are feeling lost now. They feel lost. They don't know what to do next. They feel like they've done everything and like, now what? And so it kind of reminds me back to 2012, when we were waiting for end of 2012, when we were waiting for that shift to take place. I remember doing a workshop here in La Conner and calling it 2013, integrating the new light in 2013. And now what? After 2012, now what? So basically, here we are again. We've just had this incredible eclipse. And I really want to celebrate and focus on our work that we've done, the work that you've done, the realm worker, the shadow worker, the person, the master person that knows who you are. You've been doing this work for a long time. And if you're feeling lost. So that's who this conversation is geared for. It's geared for us too. It's geared to honor
and celebrate what we've done together, what you've done in service for humanity, what you've done, that you are seen, that you are valued, that you are appreciated, even though it may not seem like it. But that's why I want to focus this conversation today. So, what say you, Pia and Cullen, about this topic?
We think there are a lot of people who will automatically resonate with this topic and know that it's applying to them. And we are really pleased to address it and share our perspective, whatever that may bring to the conversation.
I know many of us have been working for a lifetime in service, as you said, Kornelia, working on ourselves, being involved with outer service, and consciously helping the whole process of the evolution of humanity, the ascension process of the earth, and of course, the ascension of those of us who want to go with the new earth, to be the new earth. This has been a really very, very long experience. And
could we say it feels protracted?
It feels very protracted.
Yes.
And I could say that it's not just this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have also been doing this work for probably many parallel lives at the same time. And so I guess to sum up what you introduced in this conversation together with all of us is there may be a sense of feeling lost. There may be a sense of there's a word that I've used a lot. It's not a very well-known word, but I like the word. It's called cavitation. And cavitation simply means that your engine's running, but you're not going anywhere. You could think of a boat that's been moving along in the water, and the propeller is continuing to move, but all of a sudden the boat just stops. And nobody knows why it's just stopping, but it is. And I think we may be in a place of cavitation where who knows what we need to be doing. Maybe we need to just be slowing down. Maybe we need to be integrating all the things we have accomplished. And so I think a lot of us are in the same place where we do feel lost, or we don't know exactly what direction we want to go in.
And interestingly enough, this is a perfect topic about integration as part of this whole total picture, because tomorrow we will be in, or starting at sunset tonight, we will step into the energy, the universal energy of integration, which is going to powerfully point the focus on what is it we need to integrate. Are we integrating as we should everything that we need to? And the question is really, how much are we stuck in a loop of our belief systems or our hopes or expectations? And how much are we open to integrate whatever comes to us? And that's one reason I think a lot of people feel stuck, is because we've been told that we were making a difference. We have believed we would make a difference. We've had expectations that we would see that we were making a difference. And now all of a sudden it looks like the dark before the dawn, and we can't see all those things. So are we open to possibilities and integrating things we have not yet even discovered or experienced, so that we can find our way and continue to move forward?
Yeah, I really like that. I really like, having space, creating space and time for integration. I mean, it's such an important, integrating your own light, integrating your own wisdom, integrating your own experiences, integrating, making room for the new. And this is why I want to focus on this topic today, because making room for the new, really creating a space for the new. One of the things you said, Colin, is let me see if I can track it back, because a lot has been said in just this few. You said that we feel lost. Many of us don't know what to do. We've been doing it for a long time. We've been working in, many lifetimes to come here and volunteer ourselves in service for this planet, for humanity. And we've been doing this work. And now we have uh, created the new earth within our physicality, within our mass, within our consciousness. We've created that. And so now it's kind of like, you've been in service and doing and doing and doing and all of this work that you've been doing. And now I say it's done. It's done. We've been doing this work for so long that now what I feel it's time to do is to be in the void, be in the quiet, in the stillness, and like what Pia said, open the space for integration to allow the new to show itself to you, from this new place. And maybe even during this time, it's not about what should you do next. I feel lost. I don't know if I'm serving. I don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do next or whatever. Maybe this time is really about reflecting on where you've been and what you have accomplished and what you have been doing. This is so important because you have done such incredible work, as we all have. And as Cullen and Pia shared, we work a lot in other realms, in other lifetimes, in other dimensions, in our dream state. So all to harmonize the energies here on the planet and stabilize the energies and bring that higher consciousness into this space. So this is the work we've been doing. So now, the human wants to right away know, well, I'm okay. I've done all this. Like, what's next? What do I do next? I feel lost. I don't know what to do next. Well, maybe it is time to drop the bag and put your knapsack down and go down to the river and take a rest and take your journal and go connect with nature and reflect on your journey.
I think that's a great analogy and suggestion. Maybe this is a time for a great pause. Maybe we need just a pause. And here's something that is challenging, difficult, and sometimes a little hard to grasp. In this pause that we're creating, that you just very eloquently described, maybe we need to add the element of trust. Maybe we need to trust that everything we've done, everything that the three of us have talked about in the last few minutes, maybe we need to trust that we have done a good job. Maybe we need to trust that it's been a very long, ongoing process, and simply be in that space of trust that we did it, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Trust in the fact that it was a heroic, and I mean a heroic
Oh my God.
process. We did it. We came here in the most dense, absolutely challenging, chaotic time that the earth and humanity has ever experienced. And yet we accomplished what we came here to do. So I think we need to maybe sit back and trust that not only did we do a good job, it's time to take a break and just see what the seeds of what we have sown are going to produce.
I want to add to that.
Yeah, hold on, Pia. Just I just want to say that I 1000% everything you said, 1000% that it's time to take that pause and to allow it to materialize in that new space, in that void of everything that we have done. And to now is the time to really bring our trust into that space. So that is exactly. So if you're thinking about what should I do, trust. That's what to do.
So all of us have been of service. That's what we're trusting, that we have been of service. But we've had it stamped into our memory bank somewhere that to be of service means action. To be of service means doing something. And at this point, what we're talking about is being of service from a completely different perspective. Being of service by being who we are, celebrating what we've accomplished. That also is being of service because it reflects out light and a higher vibration. Just being is being in the trust.
That is an incredibly important little piece of wisdom, Pia, because we can teach by example by doing nothing other than being ourselves. We don't have to do something actively. I think Pia just hit on a really, really important idea. Simply being and reflecting the light that we are outward without effort, without doing anything, just being. When you talk about the void, Kornelia, I think that's what the Buddha meant when he was saying, I just sit under the tree. I don't really do anything. I'm just here. But at the same time, he was broadcasting energy and light just by his presence being part of the whole process. So maybe teaching by example, by doing nothing, is one of the best things we can actually do.
It's so perfect what you said, Pia, that, that is actually what is an integrity for us to be and do at this time is by being our light. Because as we said earlier, it's already been done. We've already done the work. We've already transcended the planet from the darkest places. We've observed, we've gone through, we've integrated, we've transfigured, we've transcended, we've gone through all of those things. So now the best example that we can be is, as you both already said, is to be the light. And the light right now doesn't have to, that is enough. That is enough. It's just to be that light. And a lot of people think that they're constantly having to do something, or go and start something or do something in order to be of service. I want to say that you are being of service just by being your light.
Absolutely.
And Cullen, you also said, this is so funny because you said, this was a heroic journey we've been on, the work that we've been doing. And so this morning, the song that was playing in my head, where no music was playing here in the house, but the song that was playing in my head is, I can be your hero, baby. I can be your hero. So you see, we are the heroes. We are on the hero's journey, and we are the heroes in our own lives. And I mean, we can look at it again from thinking about, we've been in the battle, at war, and we've been in service and doing all of this work. And now those of you, if you're like me, are ready to pass the mantle over to the next people that are ready to take the reins in this next level of expression, while I go to the river and shine my light and contemplate what Pia was talking about earlier. Like, what is it that I want to be next? What is it that I want to do next? Not because something needs to be fixed, not because something needs to be, because all those things have already been done. They've already been done. So now I want to contemplate other realms of creation.
Well, I think we need to not try to figure it out, Cornelia. I think trying to figure it out is another form of the old pattern of doing, because we're focused on, what comes next? I think to be truly open and to invite it in and to integrate everything is to just be without trying to see what comes next, without trying to ask, who am I going to be? Without any of those questions. If we can drop away from the questions, it's a much more powerful position to be in.
Because it's not a mental thing, because mentally we've always used we've always gone there before, and now the time is in the being state, and really listening to your soul and listening to nature, and like, okay, so if this is the first time you're here, it's like, you don't have to have a plan. You don't have to know anything. You can be trust, and you are in service by being the light. So it makes it very simple right now to focus the energy on you, on yourself. And go ahead, Colin.
Well, you said something a minute ago, Cornelia. You said that possibly it's time to hand the mantle over to the next generation, the next group. And I don't mean chronological generation. I mean actually people who are waking up, people who are becoming more involved in the evolutionary process. I think that's a really important point, because I think once we become elders, we still have responsibilities to act, to contribute. But I think the longevity of that time and space of being an elder doesn't have to go on forever. I think we can retire from being an elder and do what the three of us are talking about right now. I think we don't have to continue that hard. Boy, that's an emotional thing for me. I was going to say that hard work, and I couldn't get the word hard out. It has been hard. And I think as elders, we have to have the perspective that we don't always have to hold the torch. We don't always have to be handling the mantle. We can, when we get to a certain point in our personal evolution, give those responsibilities to someone else and move from being an elder to what I guess we could call a post-elder, and simply live
The
example in our own integrity, in our own light, in our own way of continuing to show what responsibility is all about, what service is all about, but not in that old active way. I think the elders can take a little bit of a break and maybe simply let others take on all the responsibilities and all of the work while we continue to shine our light, as we keep saying together, but not be as active as we have been for so long.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel with passing over the, if you're in a relay race and you have got to your point and now you're handing over the torch to your next runner. That's kind of like what I feel like. And I feel like at this stage, for me personally, that I want time, and we know that, what time is, but I want space to just be without having to come up with anything. I don't want to have to think about anything. I just want the space to enjoy my life at this stage of the game. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to write a book, or that I'm not going to create anything, or that, that doesn't mean in the future. But for now, I've passed the torch. I've passed it off. I am making room to realize myself and my journey. And now I want to focus on my own journey, on my, my own life instead of doing this deep transmuting, and as a realm worker, as a shadow worker, as an integrator, bringing the higher consciousness there to bring the stabilization and harmony to earth, transcending all of these energies. And so now I just want this space to enjoy my life here because I'm here, and I want to see the fruits of my labor. And I said, I want to see the fruits of my labor. I want to enjoy my life here on earth. I want to focus on myself. I want to uh, focus on my body. And those are the things that I want to focus on right now. Really becoming self fulfilled, and spending my time and energy on me instead of always focusing all the energy on in service for the planet, because that is done. That is here. That is done. And so now, like you said, we just have to trust. We just have to trust that it's here, and we are going to, all the seeds that we've planted, everything, we have to allow the seeds to sprout. And during this pause time, during this void time, during this integrative time that Pia mentioned, this will be really good for us to step back and just focus on how far we've come, celebrate our journey. Because I tell you what, I feel like the company of heaven is just celebrating us. All of the ascended masters that have been here on this planet, they are honoring us to the fullest because of what we have accomplished, because of what has never been done before.
Mm.
Agreed. What we have accomplished has never been done before. But I want to point out two things based on what you just shared that I feel are important here. One of them is the focus has always been on us individually, because all service comes from working on yourself. If you don't work on yourself and clear up your own shadows, if you don't work on yourself, you cannot be of service to someone else. So I don't think we're at a point where we're going to turn the focus suddenly to us. I think we're at a point where we recognize that what we have done has been focused on us, and celebrate the fact that we have achieved where we are simply by the work we have done on ourselves, which turns out, by the way, to be in service to others in the world. And the second point I want to bring to the conversation is that we have to be very careful about that expectation of, I want to see the results of the seeds that I planted, because that puts us in a place for a setup for disappointment if we don't see that. We may or we may not be able to see the results. If we have an expectation that we're going to get the reward, see the results, that just sets up a possibility for disappointment and keeps us in a human loop. Instead, if we just open up to, let's just see what happens and not expect anything, then we're truly free to enjoy whatever comes.
Or you can just say that I want to see the fruits of my labor while I'm here on planet Earth, to see the, the things that we've been transfiguring, transmuting, all the work that we've been doing. We want to see the peace on Earth. We want to see this. And, if it happens in this lifetime, great. And not to be attached to it. This is also another piece, is not to be attached to anything, because once you're attached to it, you're trying to control it. So, but having the desire, me personally, this is my own personal desire. I want to see the fruits of my labor, and I do. And so, but I'm not attached. So that's the I want to see the seeds that I've planted grow, and but I'm not attached to them. So, it's all different perspectives. It's how you hold the energy, and that's all welcome here.
Absolutely. I think talking about the void is very important, because we're all part of the void, and everything comes out of the void. And so the void is just not nothingness. It may seem intellectually, when we use the word or the term void, it may sound like we're saying just a black nothingness, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about a place that's absolutely calm, absolutely engulfing everything, all energies, all light, all dark. The void is what some people would call the ground of being, or the beginning, or the beginning and the ending. And I think when we return to the void, we're actually going home. And we can do that on an everyday basis. We can do that by being in nature. Being in nature is absolutely an avenue or a path to reaching the void. Meditation for some people is reaching the void. There are so many kinds of meditations. There are so many ways of calming ourselves, quieting ourselves. And I think they all probably lead to the same place. Once again, the void. And so I think if we can aspire, if we can do our best to understand and reach the void as often as possible, it will help not only us, but all other energies at the same time, because it will create more calm. It will create more cooperation. It will create more integrity. It will create more honesty. So when we talk about the void, it's a pretty big subject. It's a pretty large area to understand that it's not just a dark nothingness. It's really part of the really, really big picture.
And I think it's where you find what you said you wanted to see. You want to see peace on earth. The void is the place of peace.
The place of peace that is here right now.
That's right.
It is.
It absolutely is.
The place of that is here right now. It's the energy that's already within, that's already here right now, that's already realized. So with that realization, like I said, the way I view it is when I plant a plant and put seeds in the ground, I am very excited to watch this plant grow, to come out, and that is what I mean by wanting to see the fruits of my labor, wanting to see the fruits of our labor. So being just really excited about seeing materialization for what we have planted, the work we have done, not to be controlling it, but to allowing it to show itself to us in a very exciting way, in a very simple way, in a very, it's not controlled by us. It's because it's already done. It's already been done. And so we just have to create the space for it. And we just have to, that's why, working on the self, all of the things, knowing who you are, knowing what your journey has been about, and now being in this space of void, being in the space of quiet, trusting that all is well. All is well. The chaos is going on all around us. I don't know if you remember this text that I shared with you during the show that we did in February, but I texted my friend in February, on February the 11th of 2023. And this was coming deep from within my being. And I was saying, this is, my friend Marianne, after transcending, transfiguring, and transmuting this old earth all these years, what I really want now, I want to live to be. I want to live to be and explore and enjoy nature. I want to spend a few years after handing over the mantle. I want to spend a few years without having to, nothing, Nothing. And a few years on Earth time is it's, I don't know in how many years that is in the galaxy, but a few years in Earth time is nothing. I want to spend a few years without having to nothing. I have this desire now. This is a deep desire that was coming from within me. And I have to give myself permission to want this instead of what the mind wants. Do, go, do this, fix this, continue on, carrying on. I wonder how many others have this desire too. It really feels good to put words to it. So that was in February. And this is the part that brings me back to this conversation again today of just being who it is that we are, being who it is that we are today after all of this dedicated service work that we've been doing. That's landing. What does Larkma say about this?
Larkma says it's more important how we do something than what we do. They're continually telling us it's not about the action. It's about the being. It's absolutely about the being. So we have been hearing for 2 decades now, it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. And it's not about the doing at all, really, it's about the being. Just be the light that you are. So we've been practicing this for a really, really long time. That's one thing they say. They also say that we are in the time of incredible density on the planet, and it's causing what we perceive to be suffering on many levels. But the suffering is just part of the transformation. And so we have to be very careful not to focus on how it hurts or the suffering, and instead come back to, oh, we're transforming. Feel free to add to that anytime you want to. I can't remember other pertinent things at the moment.
Well, they often talk about just being the love and light that we are. Their message is really quite simple. They talk about the highest, most important element or energy in the universe is love. And that if we do our best to create love in whatever we do, and that does make sense about what Pia just said about how we do what we do, not what we do what we do. Mm-hmm. If we're interjecting love into that, whether that's a thought we have, whether that's an action we take, or an activity that we're involved with, if it comes from love, it is going to make an impact that nothing else can equal. Nothing else will be the same as using the essence and the energy of love. So I think that's a pretty simple way to lead our lives. Everything can come out of that depiction of love. Honesty, integrity, transparency, service, whatever things that we can be are generated through the love that we are.
That's great, Cullen.
So
I'm just going to add to it. Kornelia, you mentioned that a lot of people are saying they're lost, they're exhausted, and they want to go home. And adding to what Cullen just said, and answering your question about what Larkma brings to this conversation, Larkma says home is in the heart. You aren't lost as long as you can connect to your heart, because your heart, which carries the love, is connected to everything. And you can't go somewhere else to go home. You can only go into the space of your heart to be at home.
Yes, because like you said, home is where you are right now. You know, our physical body houses our spirit, where home is. And home is also in the house that we live in on this planet, but home is also Mother Nature. So all of the ways that we can experience home, and then there's the place from where we came from. And there's a lot of people that are yearning to go home. Home is actually a big topic right now out there. People are talking about wanting to go home, wanting to go home, having a deep yearning to go home, going home within yourself, going home to your inner self, because you've never been separated from your source. That has been the illusion that we've bought into. And so you already are home. It is, you are visiting, volunteering, visiting here from your beautiful home, but you take home with you wherever you go, wherever you're traveling. Home is within you, and home is where the heart is, like Pia said. So home is a big topic right now. I definitely have heard a lot of people saying, I'm yearning to go home. I'm yearning for home. I want to have a t-shirt that says, I'm going home.
I think that's a pretty important point, because people become really dissatisfied. People become feeling unfulfilled if they don't see the reaping of the seeds they have planted. They do feel like maybe they didn't do a good job. They didn't fulfill their contract or their mission or their project that they came here to do. And I think what both of you just talked about is incredibly important, because I'm just going to repeat what you said, Kornelia. We are home. We are home. And that wish, or that wanting to go to a far off home, whether we believe that's in the stars or we believe that's somewhere else in the universe, we can create that, and we do create that every day, wherever we are. You said that, Pia said that. And I think that's really important in this great pause, this great time of just letting things settle out, letting things just happen the way they need to happen. There's an old saying, I don't know which physicist said this, but P and I had a refrigerator magnet for years that said, whether you believe it or not, the universe is unfolding is exactly as it should. And I think if we look at the big picture from that perspective, we can realize that everything really is okay. Everything is really the way it should be. And that can help us erase the distinction between good and bad, suffering and joy,
desire and expectation versus
all of
disappointment.
the dualistic things that we have to grapple with here on earth as humans. If we realize that everything really is exactly the way it should be, then there's no need to suffer. There's no need to look at things and say, I wish it wasn't like that. Because if it wasn't like that, whatever that experience is bringing forward wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't be helping our evolution if it wasn't exactly the way it is. So I think it's really important to say, I see that this is going on, whatever that might be, and not judging it, not putting it into the good box or the bad box, just letting it be what it is and being neutral about it and just saying, oh, well, it must be serving a purpose somehow. I may not understand it. I may not have the perspective to see that it's helping in the long run. And I think if we can change our perspective enough to see that, that helps us realize that, yes, indeed, we are home and we're exactly where we need to be.
We just came through 2 weeks of the most powerful eclipse season humanity has ever experienced. And particularly the full lunar eclipse that we had just on Friday, an energy eclipse that's all about releasing what no longer serves. And we're still on the tail end of feeling the reverberation of that energy. And one of the things that Cullen and I did during the eclipse was to get quiet and focus on what else do we need to release, not trying to figure it out, but just surrendering it and saying, whatever it is that we're still stuck in the loop of belief or patterns or whatever it is, I consciously release it to the universe. And since we're on the tail end of that, this might be a good time for all of those who want to see something different than what they're seeing to release their expectations, to release their hopes, to release everything about it. Just release it and come back to that place of home, that place of trust, and just be with what is. Being who you are, being your light, coming into the love that's in your heart and letting that shine out without any expectations of what it's going to bring.
Yeah, you really, because if you have, that this is what it needs to be, or this is how it needs to be, then you're again trying to do the job of the universe is going to deliver you something much grander, better than you even know. So that's the thing, is just being in that curiosity, in that space after dropping the baggage, releasing and letting go of what's no longer serving. That lunar eclipse, the lunar again is the feminine, the dark, and it's really being in that dark phase. And it's the feminine is about releasing that feminine energy. I too did my releasing work with this eclipse, and I was releasing, letting go of any karmic energies that I was still carrying within my construct. Any karmic energies, releasing how if I see anything else out there in a negative standpoint, releasing and letting go what's no longer serving on that way, and realizing that I already have everything from within. And so releasing whatever's no longer serving, that has always been the work. It's just that the moons and those cycles and the eclipse was really powerful to really let go of so much, and then just let it go. And then we wait, not wait, but we do what Cullen said, and that is to let the dust settle and let the chips fall where they may, right? And just letting it all unfold, because just like you said, Cullen, we can view from this standpoint every experience as, as an observer. Oh, this is happening. Oh, this must be serving on some purpose. And we can just be the observer of it, because if you've already integrated the shadow, and if you've already released your emotional attachments to it, then coming back at it from a neutral place, that is the way to be the observer and not react to what you're witnessing, or that you're not getting what it is that you think you should be getting.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I think we could sum up a lot of what we're talking about, and this may sound really simplistic and funny, but I think we just need to get out of our own way.
I like that. Yeah.
If we get out of our own way by doing everything that you just suggested, if we do that, then things just naturally occur. And as the observer that you described, we can pull it all in and just have a hugely expansive life where there's no judgment, there's no anticipation, there's no angst, there's no anxiety. All we do is also what you said a moment ago, Kornelia, be curious. What is this bringing me? What can I learn from whatever this experience is? How can I best use this information or this wisdom to help me along the path, along the trail? And all of the shadow work we've been doing, all of the interior work we've been doing has been accomplishing that very thing of getting out of our own way. It's really pretty simple. It's even laughable to realize that we're the ones who are keeping ourselves from clear sight, from really seeing how things are interconnected, how relationships work, how the give and take, how the what Larkma calls, Pia, what is their phrase about tension?
Dynamic tension.
Dynamic tension.
Dynamic tension that makes us grow.
Everything has dynamic tension, and that's part of the dualistic reality of our life here on Earth. And if we can just look at that dynamic tension instead of dramatically getting involved with it, if we can just look at it,
Or trying to escape from it.
exactly, if we can use our ability to observe it without jumping full force into it, we can bypass a whole lot of drama, a whole lot of trauma, just by looking at it and realizing that, well, yes, it's there, but what is it that's within it that can help me without emotionally being so completely gravitationally involved with it? It's a pretty simple equation.
You know, you said all that inner work that we've been doing. And when you said that, my thought was all the inner work that we've been doing to beautify our inner home, to beautify the home. Because one of the things I've been doing too in my the place where I live, my physical home, is I've been cleaning things out. Uh, Shining things up, letting things go, purifying things, moving things out. And so that has been something that's been I've really been enjoying it, because this is what I've been able to do, to move some energy in that direction, clean things up, make things shiny. What has outlived its purpose in my physical home here, and what can I release and let go on that end, because we're always working with the body, letting go, and then we can also work with the home that we live in. And but while you were talking, Cullen, I thought the title of today's show could be "Getting Out of Our Own Way, Letting Things Settle Out, Living Life Beyond Duality."
That's great.
That's a good one.
That's
I love
great.
that.
That's great.
So that's pretty good. That's what we've been talking about here, is getting out of our own way, letting things settle out, living life beyond duality. Uh, that's been our work. That has been our work, and so that deserves to be uh, honored and recognized. And we're
You asked earlier what Larkma has to say about the topics we're discussing.
yes.
They had a pretty in-depth conversation in their live call this past Sunday, which will be available upon our website by this Sunday, talking about those of us who've been on this path for a long time, why we are going through and experiencing what we are, what we need to do to adapt and change and move through it. So they had a pretty long, detailed answer to your question that I can't bring to the conversation right this minute. But if people want to explore that more deeply, all they have to do is go to larkma.com, go to the last Sunday's live call, and they can get a Pleiadian perspective.
Oh yeah, that's good. I always feel like whenever I'm speaking to you, Pia and Cullen, I always feel like even Larkma is always present here now, and I always feel like our perspectives is already everything. You've already integrated all of Larkma's work. That's how I feel about you. I feel that you've integrated those perspectives and all that wonderful teaching of how to live here in integrity and responsibility, and all the wonderful work that you've been doing. I want to let you all know too that if I mean, I know we directed this show towards the realm workers, shadow workers, star seeds here that are going, what's next? If you're looking to, do some work on remembering who we are, if that's work that you would still like to go deeper in, the Pia and Cullen's book, Remembering Who We Are, is a wonderful beginning that you can support you in that way. And there's just it's such full of insights, and always it can always take you to the next level. It can take you to the next level. So, Pia, do we want to let the audience know how to? Are you doing sessions right now? What are you doing?
We do personal sessions with Lartma. We do alternative health guidance. We do Pleiadian Earth Energy astrology charts. We do what people need. Whatever somebody comes up with and says, I need help with this, we offer it. Lartma does evaluations for people for where they are on their journey. They do the personal sessions where people can be in conversation and ask deep, important questions to them. So yes, we are doing all of that, and all the services are listed on larkma.com, LAARKMAA.com.
And if you're listening to this YouTube video here later, also Pia and Cullen's description links are below in the video. And so you can access all their information there. Definitely follow that and check out that latest call that Pia was mentioning earlier that will be available this coming weekend, right?
Yeah, Kornelia, I want to thank you for acknowledging the integration that we have gone through our years of working with Lartma and beyond before we started working with Lartma. Your acknowledgement of our own integration and being able to share, that was very wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. And I want to go back. Do we have a couple of minutes left?
We do.
I want to go back to something you said a moment ago about cleaning up and shining up and revitalizing your home environment. I think you touched on something that's supremely important. You're talking symbolically about the microcosm and the macrocosm, as above, so below. You're talking about not only dealing with our own personal shadows, our own inner workings, but the environment that we choose to live in is also part of our greater home. I mean, I don't mean home in a physical building. I mean our true home, like our bodies and like our soul. And so what you've been doing, I think, is extremely important because it helps clean up the whole picture. And when I use the word cleanup, I mean that in all positivity. I don't mean it in a negative way that something had to be cleaned up because there was something wrong with it. I mean strictly that is cleaning up everything about who we are, how we live, and what we're doing. And I think that is a great way of understanding how to let go, as you said, of things that no longer serve. So I would say bravo to that kind of activity. Everybody could benefit from looking at where they live, how they live, what's in their immediate environment, and deciding, does this still fit? Is this still me? Is this still part of who I want to be? Is this part of what I'm projecting out into the world? I think that work is as important as any of the interior work of soul searching, shadow work, and all the rest of it. So I think you bringing that up was a really good part of what we're talking about today.
It's been the activity that I've been involved in recently in different spaces, not only in my own home and what I'm doing and looking at cleaning out some of the cupboards, cleaning out different things, dropping things off at the Goodwill, but also I've been supporting a friend with aging parents and things that are cluttered there, things that no longer need to be there, taking old clothing, taking things out, moving things out. Because really, when it comes down to it, we really don't need much to live our daily lives.
Yeah.
That is so right, Cornelia. That is a really important insight.
It is. It is. Pia and I went through a very cathartic, I don't mind sharing this publicly. We went through a really cathartic experience when we decided we needed to really change our lives. we sold or gave away everything that we owned.
Except our clothes.
Except our clothes. We gave away an amazing collection of gems and stones and rocks that were part of our life. They were our family. But we realized that we had gained what we needed to gain from those friends and everything else in our lives. And by doing that, we opened up new avenues. We opened up new ways, new pathways of experiencing life in a completely different way. And so what you just said, Kornelia, about we don't really need much, really came true in our lives. And it made a relatively big impact on our understanding of what's necessary and what's not.
If you look at even if you look at the supplements you're taking, or you look at your spice cabinet, or you look at your like daily things that you use on a daily basis, those things need to be front and center, and everything else can go. Really, it's like the things you're using on a daily basis. There's so many things that are in the cabinets and that are behind, and this and that and this and that, that are just taking up space. And it's just, this is all part of it. And we think we're going to use it at some point in time. But really, if you haven't used it in the 6 months, or if it's not part of your daily, then, it might be time to get, again, to be lighter, to let go and make space.
Absolutely.
Let somebody else enjoy it.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Pia. We actually hired an estate agent to stage and sell all of our belongings. And she said, make 3 piles. Make a pile of what you really feel you need to keep. Make an iffy pile of maybe I want to keep this, and make a pile of things you really don't want. And so Pia and I went through this process for a couple of months, and this woman was really helpful. And she said, it's time to review what those 3 categories are near the end before the estate sale. And she said, this is going to tie into what you just said, Kornelia. The things that you don't use at all, they're just sitting inertly. They're not helping anybody. They could be helping someone else, whether they buy it, whether you give it away, whether you donate it. But those things that you're not using could be a wonderful addition to someone else's life. It could open up something for someone else. And I think that's really true about maybe all of our possessions, physical possessions.
When we look at really the simplicity, and we have to remember that we are now in the new earth, and that we're setting up shop in the new earth. We're sitting in our respective places, in our yards and whatever, our homes and whatever. And how do we want our life to be here? And we need the basics, and those are the things that we use every single day, so that we can spend more of our energy, more of our time enjoying nature and doing the things that we're talking about, rather than being preoccupied with stuff that's cluttering up our space.
Yep.
And making things dusty and all these things. But I want to go back to one last thing before we take off today, and that is honoring you and recognizing you, Pia and Cullen, for your work here today. Not just here, but all the work you've done, tirelessly the work you've done, integrating the Pleiadian perspectives, and not just the Pleiadian, but all the perspectives that you've learned and taught over the years to so many of us. I remember when I first found you guys, you were a very important time in my life where I was learning about Orleane and listening to you, and your wisdom that was shared was really helping me at the time as I'm remembering who I am. And so it was a dream come true to be able to bring you on this podcast here on this show and do this show with you after years of being a student of this work, of your sharing. But also we've grown together, and we've grown together. And then so I do see you as the integrated consciousness of the teachings that you share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That means a lot to us.
It does indeed.
That is
very touching.
Heartfelt.
Awesome. I think we've done our work again. we've done our work again. So it's been a great, wonderful conversation. I want to thank everybody for listening and tuning in. We hope that you have found this conversation today helpful in your journey. And like we shared here, take the time to enjoy your life. All the links are in the description below. And if you're here on this channel and if you're new to the channel, it always helps if you press the like button and subscribe to the channel, because that is going to get this work out to more and more people. We thank you so much for your service in the world and who you are. And we'll see you again next time. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.